It don't mean nothing being raised in a two-parent household if one of the parents is emotionally, or both of the parents are emotionally unattached. It don't mean nothing. I'd rather be raised in a single-parent household, but my parent is emotionally available and locked in and gives a fuck about my whereabouts and my well-being, than be in a household of two people and both parents don't give two fucks. They just care about working and putting clothes on my back and putting food, but they're not emotionally available. Man, fuck that. Man, fuck that. Because this is why a lot of people be thinking they had the best childhood ever. People be looking at people who had their mum and their dad in the household, thinking, yeah, they had it good. Meanwhile, their dad was coming back home from work, gone back home, ignore the pity them. They're lucky if they get a kiss, good night. Lucky if they get hello in the morning, and the same shit, 7 days a week. Yeah? It's the mum that's locked in. And then when the mum passed away, or the mum's not around anymore, or whatever, now you've got this void, you've got this disconnect. You know? Usually it's with the dad, because the dads are not much, like men are not, they're not maternal. So I understand, men are providers. They're not into the whole, you know, nurturing and the, all that, you know, I guess, you know, socialization that a mother does, which is understandable. But what's the thing is that dads still have to be kind of locked in, and they still need to be emotionally available to the point where their kids can come to them about problems. Because you don't want to get to the point where the kids can only go to the mothers, and when the mother ain't here and the mum passed away or whatever, the kid don't come to you, the kid don't fuck with you. Now you've got a dysfunctional relationship because the kid don't trust you enough to confide in you about their problems, because you weren't never around when they were growing up anyway. So why would they tell you your business and what you're going through and your thoughts and your feelings and your fears now that they're adult? Come on, kids don't forget. Please understand that kids don't forget. Look how many adults remember teachers that used to shit on them. Yeah, you're never going to amount to anything. You're never going to be good enough. You're never going to be anything. How many students, how many people have heard this, remembered teachers that used to shit on them, and they're like, never again. Yeah, I remember that teacher, Miss Church. Oh, she said I was never going to be anything. I was never going to amount to anything. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm trying to say? I'm just looking at what bus I can get home. Better off walking. But anyway, I digress. This is why you need to make sure that you're emotionally available for your kids, so your kids are not looking for that same love that they did not get as a kid from strangers. How many women who grew up with fathers that didn't give a fuck about them, now they're looking for that in a partner, in a boyfriend? They want to be stroked with their head stroked in their sleep, hugged, because their dad ain't do that shit for them when they were a kid. And you can't fault them for it. You can't fault them for it. You can't look down on them for it. They wanted something that they never had growing up. So you can't judge them for it. Which is why you make sure you do the work now, so your kids are not looking for validation in strangers. When looking for validation in strangers, you need to understand they're strangers. And strangers, if they ain't got no ties to you and they're bad mind, they will use certain things and manipulate you to get what they want. So yeah, they'll give you the validation that you yearn for and seek, but they're going to try and get something out of it. Yeah, if I do this, I can get this out of her. You don't want your loved ones being used like this and manipulated like this. So make sure you love them correctly, so they're not being manipulated and being played for a fool by strangers. You understand? You know? So yeah. Two-parent household isn't always ideal. Keep that in mind.